Dear students, you all are welcome to the class of Water Resource Engineering. I hope you all enjoyed the rain during your childhood days. You might often see in the news that a place receives this much of rain. So have you ever thought what does it mean? What is the definition of rain? How it is measured? In today's lecture, we will study about precipitation, its various forms, different instruments and methods to measure the rainfall. Along with this, we will study other topics associated with rainfall. As far as definition is concerned, the precipitation is defined as all forms of water that reach the earth from the atmosphere. Among all the forms of precipitation, the rainfall is the predominant form. On the basis of intensity and size of water droplets, the precipitation is categorized into different forms. When the water droplets are in the size of 0.5 mm or greater, then it is called rain. Further, the rain is divided into three categories based on the intensity of rain. Light rain will be called when its intensity is less than 2.5 mm per hour. If its intensity is between 2.5 mm per hour and 7.5 mm per hour, then it is termed as medium rain. And when the speed of rain exceeds 7.5 mm per hour, it is known as heavy rain. When the size of raindrop is less than 0.5 mm and its speed is less than 1 mm per hour, then it will be called drizzle. When the precipitation in the form of ice crystals with an average density of 0.1 gram per centimeter cube, then it is called snow. When water droplets touches grounds at 0 degrees Celsius, glaze or freezing rain is formed. And when the frozen raindrops of transparent grains, as shown in this figure, it is called sleet. It happens when the rain falls through air at temperature below than 0 degrees Celsius. When the ground receives precipitation in the form of irregular pellets or lumps of ice of size more than 8 mm, it is called hail. The measurement unit for all forms of precipitation is millimeters. It is measured in terms of depth. Suppose an area receives 10 mm rainfall during a time period, it means that area is covered with 10 mm depth water. If water does not loss due to drainage, evaporation, absorption or any kind of water loss. There are numerous numbers of instruments are available to measure the rainfall. These instruments are called rain gauge. These are the commonly used rain gauge which we will study one by one in the subsequent slide. A variety of non-recording rain gauges is available. The rain gauge used by India Meteorological Department is Simmons gauge, which is also called as standard gauge. The Indian standard 5225 specifies the requirements for non-recording rain gauges with capacity of 100, 200, 400 and 1000 mm rainfall. The rain gauge consists essentially of a collector which intercepts the sample of rainfall to be measured and a receiver consisting of a base and a bottle in which the rainfall collected is stored. The collector is exposed above ground level while the receiver is fixed partially below ground level. This standard specifies to collectors 200 cm square and 100 cm square in area, 2 bases and 3 bottles of capacity 2, 4 and 10 liters. All components are completely interchangeable and combination of these provide the rain gauge as given in table 1 of Indian standard 5225. The detailed specification of 200 cm square non-recording rain gauge is shown in this figure. The Indian Standard 4986 covers the details regarding the installation of non-recording type rain gauge, method of instrument, method of measurement, and recording of precipitation. The rain gauge shall be fixed on a masonry or concrete foundation 600 mm by 600 mm by 600 mm, sunk into the ground. It may also be fixed using a steel structure. Into this foundation, the base of the gauge shall be cemented so that the rim of the gauge is horizontal and exactly 300 mm above the ground level. This height is necessary to prevent more than a negligible amount of water splashing into the gauge. If the height exceeds 300 mm, the amount of rain collected decreases owing to wind eddies set up by the gauge. The rain gauge shall be protected from being damaged, particularly by stray cattle, by erecting a fence around it as shown in this figure. The fence shall be such that the top of the fence is not higher than half the distance of the fence from the gauge. It means that if the horizontal distance between the gauge and the fence is 2.4 meter, then the height of the fence should be maximum 1.2 meter. To measure the rainfall, the water in the bottle shall be poured into the glass measuring cylinder. Care shall be taken to avoid spilling of the collected water. The rainwater in the gauge shall be measured every day at 8:30 hour Indian Standard Time, and the rain gauge shall be examined every day at that hour even when in the observer's opinion no rain has fallen. The observer at each station shall maintain a written record of the rainfall measured in this recommended form. If it is raining at the time of observation, all operations shall be completed as quickly as possible to avoid errors. If rainfall is heavy at the time of observation, a spare bottle shall be placed inside the receiver immediately after the one inside is taken out from measurement in order that no rain is missed during the interval. At high altitude stations such as in the Himalayas, where snowfall is predominant, it is essential to install a snow gauge in addition to the rain gauge for the measurement of snowfall. The drawback of non-recording rain gauge is that the provided accumulated rainfall data does not measure the rainfall intensity with time. To counter this drawback, recording rain gauge is introduced. The recording type rain gauge provides a continuous record of rainfall at a place over time. The recording rain gauge consists of a collector and a rainfall recording mechanism mounted on a base. The rainfall measuring unit consists of a float chamber containing a light metal float and a siphon chamber. Rain from the collector is led into the float chamber through an inlet tube, and as the float rises, a pen fixed to the float rod draws a line on a chart wound on a rotating drum driven by clockwork. The detailed dimension of recording rain gauge is shown in this figure. The other type of non-recording rain gauge is tipping bucket type rain gauge. A Stevens tipping bucket type of rain gauge consists of a 300 mm collector that directs the rainwater through a funnel into two compartmental bucket. Once rainwater fills up a bucket, it overbalances and the water tips down to the casing of the container, bringing thereby the second bucket to its measuring position beneath the funnel. Tipping of the bucket actuates an electric circuit which records the number of tips during rain. Another recording type rain gauge which we will study is weighing bucket type rain gauge. This type of gauge can be used for recording rainfall as well as snow. It is similar to the siphon type rain gauge. The only difference is the pen's mechanism for noting the data. As it rains, the weight of the bucket gradually increases. This changes the position of the pen of the balance. With time, the pen marks a line on the continuously moving graph paper. The data obtained by recording gauges can be interpreted in various ways. Rainfall mass curves and heatographs are some of them. In the rainfall mass curve, accumulated precipitation against time is plotted in chronological order. In this mass curve, cumulative rainfall is taken in ordinate and time in abscissa. Since the rainfall data are cumulative, this graph is always in an increasing trend. Another method to represent the rainfall data is heatograph, in which the rainfall intensity is plotted against time, where rainfall intensity is depth of rainfall per unit time. A question on heatograph is asked in GATE 97. I hope you will be able to answer this question. In the previous slide, we studied that a heatograph represents rainfall intensity with time. So, the right answer of this question is option B. That is, heatograph is a graph representing rainfall intensity with time. Since all the rainfall data come from the rain gauge, it becomes important to pay attention to the major aspects of the installation of the rain gauge. The amount of precipitation collected by a rain gauge depends on its exposure. There are some rules that shall be specially taken into consideration in selecting a suitable site. The gauge shall be placed on level ground. Keep in mind that the surface on which the gauge is placed should neither be slopy nor it is placed on a wall or roof. On no account the rain gauge shall be placed on a slope such that the ground falls away steeply on the side of the prevailing wind. The distance between the rain gauge and the nearest object should be generally 4 times the height of the object, but never shall be less than twice the height of the object. In the case of mountainous and coastal region, to reduce the effect of wind, trees or a wall on the side of the prevailing wind at a distance is placed by keeping in mind the previous rule of horizontal distance. Ideally, a basin should have as many gauges as possible to give a clear representative picture of the areal distribution of rainfall. Factors like economy, topography, accessibility, and rainfall variability governs the number of stations for a basin. For any type of hydrometeorological study, it is imperative that an optimum design of the network of rain gauge stations is determined, taking into consideration various factors that influence the specific purpose for which such a design are envisaged. Orography of a place and rainfall variability therein are the two most important factors for designing the network. The recommendation of World Meteorological Organization and Indian standard for rain gauge station is given in this table. As per Indian standard, in plains, one rain gauge up to 500 km square shall be sufficient. In not too elevated regions with average elevations 1 km above sea level, the network density shall be one rain gauge in 250 km square to 400 km square. In areas predominantly hilly and where very heavy rainfall is experienced, the normal network, if economically feasible, should be one rain gauge not more than 150 km square. However, the denser network being preferable. As per WMO recommendation, at least 10% recorded type rain gauge should be installed. Due to unpreferable condition or in case of difficulty in installing the rain gauge, A minimum number has been recommended by the Indian Standard Code. In plain, there should be at least one rain gauge station for an area of 750 km square. In hilly region, one rain gauge station normally represent an area between 100 km square to 250 km square. In a wide area, one rain gauge station should normally represent an area between 1500 km square to 10,000 km square. The aim of optimum network design is that by interpolation between values of different stations, it should be possible to determine with sufficient accuracy. When the mean rainfall is calculated by simple arithmetical average, the optimum number of rain gauge is obtained by the following equation. N is equal to CV by EP square. Coefficient of variation can be calculated in the following steps from the data of existing n stations. First of all, calculate the mean rainfall from the equation PAV is equal to 1 by n sigma Pi. Then calculate the standard deviation sigma n minus 1 is equal to square root of 1 by n minus 1 into sigma Pi minus PAV square. Then find coefficient of variation CV is equal to standard deviation into 100 divided by allowable percentage error, PAV. PAV is the mean rainfall. The allowable percentage of error EP is normally taken as 10%. All the notations are given in this figure. N is the optimum number of rain gauge stations. CV is the coefficient of variation of the rainfall values. Small n is the number of existing stations. EP is the desired degree of percentage error in the estimate of basin mean rainfall. And PAV is the mean rainfall. Now it's time for a question. Read this question and try to solve. This question says there are 4 rain gauge stations existing in the catchment of a river. The average annual rainfall values at this station are 800, 540, 445, 415 respectively. Determine the optimum number of rain gauge in the catchment and how many more rain gauges will be required to be installed. Allowable percentage error in mean value of rainfall in the catchment is 10%. If in case of allowable percentage error is not given in the question, then assume it as 10%. So in the previous slide, we learned how to solve question based on optimum number of rain gauge. First of all, find the mean rainfall PAV by the formula 1 by n sigma Pi. So here PAV comes as 548.75. Then the second step, to find the standard deviation by the formula written here, which is 1 by n minus 1 sigma Pi minus PAV square to the whole 1 by 2 power 1 by 2, and it comes 176.275. Then the step 3, to find the coefficient of variation CV by the formula sigma n minus 1 into 100 divided by PAV, where sigma n minus 1 is the standard deviation, which comes here 176.275 into 100 divided by PAV, means rainfall, mean rainfall, which comes here 548.75. So the value for CV comes 32.12. So the final step is to find the optimum number of rain gauge by the formula N is equal to CV by P square is equal to 32.12 by 10 to the whole square, and that comes as 10.32. When the number comes in this point, then take is the in, do not take it in a fraction, take it a whole number. So, that comes 11. So here the optimum number of rain gauge is 11 and already there are 4 station is installed. So additional station which is required to install is 11 minus 4, that is 7. This question is for you. Solve it and post your answer in the comment section. The remaining topic of this chapter will be discussed in the later lecture. Take care of yourself. Be happy. Jai Hind.